The nuclear program of Iran: origins, evolution, and global implications. Introduction: a program at the center of global politics. The nuclear program of Iran is one of the most controversial and heavily scrutinized technological and political projects of the modern world. For decades, it has remained at the center of international diplomacy, strategic rivalry, sanctions, regimes, covert operations, and military confrontation. While Iran insists that its nuclear ambitions are entirely peaceful and focused on energy production, scientific advancement, and medical implications, many governments, particularly the United States, Israel, and several European states, have argued that the potential to the program has long possessed the potential to develop nuclear weapons. The disagreement over intentions has created a prolonged crisis that intertwines issues of national security, technological development, and global non-proliferation norms, and regional security dynamics. Over time, the Iranian nuclear program has evolved from a Western-supported civilian initiative during the Cold War into a complex, partially clandestine technology infrastructure capable of producing nuclear fuel and potentially weapons-grade material. Its trajectory reflects broader tensions in internal politics, the clash between sovereign technological development and the international community's attempt to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. The origins of Iran's nuclear ambitions in the Pahlavi era. Iran's nuclear journey began during the reign of Shah Reza Pahlavi in the 1950s. During this period, Iran was a close ally of the United States, and its nuclear program was initiated with American support as part of President Dwight Eisenhower's Atoms for Peace initiative. This program was designed to promote peaceful nuclear technology worldwide while strengthening alliances with pro-Western governments during the Cold War. In 1957, Iran signed a civil nuclear cooperation agreement with the United States, marking the beginning of its nuclear research efforts. The Tehran research reactor, constructed with American assistance, became operational in 1967 and was initially fueled with high-enriched uranium supplied by the United States. Iran's nuclear ambition expanded significantly during the 1970s. The Shah envisioned transforming Iran into a technologically advanced state capable of generating large amounts of nuclear energy to support industrial growth and future electricity demand. In 1974, the Iranian government established the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran (AEOI) and announced plans to construct numerous nuclear power plants across the country. Iran sought cooperation with Western firms investing heavily in nuclear energy projects, as well as in nuclear technology projects in Europe, and signing contracts for the construction of nuclear reactors. The Bushehr nuclear power plant on the Persian Gulf coast became the counterpiece of these ambitions, with German companies beginning the construction on two large reactors in 1975. At the same time, Iran began exploring domestic uranium resources, establishing research facilities and negotiating partnerships with international nuclear technology firms. By the late 1970s, the Shah envisioned a network of reactors producing tens of thousands of megawatts of electricity, positioning Iran as a major nuclear energy state in the Middle East. The impact of the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The 1979 Islamic Revolution dramatically transformed Iran's political system and disrupted its nuclear development plans. The monarchy was overthrown and replaced by an Islamic republic under the leadership of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Initially, the revolutionary government was skeptical of nuclear technology, viewing it as an expensive symbol of Western influence and a project associated with the deposed Shah. Many nuclear projects were halted or abandoned, and foreign companies withdrew from Iran as the diplomatic relations deteriorated. The Iran-Iraq War, which lasted from 1980s to 1988, further devastated the country's infrastructure and economy. Nuclear development became a low priority as Iran focused its resources on defending itself against Iraqi military attacks. This partially constructed Bushehr nuclear reactor complex The partially constructed Bushehr nuclear reactor complex was bombed repeatedly during the war, leaving the facility heavily damaged and unfinished. Despite these setbacks, the experience of war and isolation eventually led Iranian leaders to reconsider the strategic importance of nuclear technology. By the late 1980s, Iran began quietly reviving its nuclear program, seeking assistance from foreign partners to rebuild and expand its capabilities. Revival and expansion in the 1990s. During the 1990s, Iran began reconstructing its nuclear infrastructure with assistance from China, Russia, and other international partners. Russia agreed to complete the Bushehr nuclear power plant using its own nuclear reactor technology, marking a significant milestone in Iran's effort to restore its civilian nuclear program. China also provided technical assistance in uranium mining and nuclear research, helping Iran develop expertise in the nuclear fuel cycle. At the same time, Western intelligence agencies began to suspect that Iran was pursuing activities beyond pure civilian nuclear energy. The evidence emerged suggesting that Iran had acquired centrifuges, technology, and related equipment through international procurement networks, including the clandestine network operated by Pakistani nuclear scientist Abdul Qadir Khan. These centrifuges could be used to enrich uranium, a process essential for producing nuclear fuel but also capable of generating weapons-grade material if enrichment levels were increased sufficiently. Iran also began developing uranium conversion facilities capable of producing uranium hexafluoride gas, the feedstock required for centrifuge enrichment. These developments raised concern among international observers that Iran might be building a domestic nuclear fuel cycle capable of producing materials suitable for nuclear weapons. Although Iran insisted that its activities were largely and peaceful under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty (NPT), suspicions about hidden military objectives continued to grow. The AMAD project and alleged weaponization efforts. According to various intelligence assessments and international investigations, Iran may have pursued a covert nuclear weapons research effort during the late 1990s and early 2000s. This effort, commonly referred to as the AMAD project, allegedly aimed to develop the technological foundations for a nuclear weapons program. Reports suggest that the project involved research on nuclear warhead design, high explosive testing, detonator development, and the integration of nuclear warheads into ballistic missile systems. The AMAD project was reportedly led by Iranian nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh and operated under the supervision of Iran's defense establishment. While there is a debate about scale and intentions of the program, intelligence reports suggest that Iran explored the possibility of building several nuclear warheads during this period. However, this project appears to have faced a critical limitation. Iran didn't yet possess sufficient quantities of highly enriched uranium or plutonium necessary for constructing a nuclear bomb. In 2007, the United States intelligence community released an assessment concluding that Iran had halted its structured nuclear weapons program in 2003. Nevertheless, the report also indicated that Iran continued to develop nuclear technologies that could potentially support developments in the future. This dual reality and apparent halt in weaponization efforts combined with ongoing enrichment capabilities become a central feature of the international debate surrounding Iran's nuclear intentions. The exposure of undeclared nuclear facilities. A major turning point in the Iranian nuclear controversy occurred in 2002 when an Iranian opposition group revealed the existence of previously undisclosed nuclear facilities at Natanz and Arak. Satellite imagery confirmed that Iran had constructed a large uranium enrichment complex at Natanz as well as a heavy water reactor project at Arak. These facilities had not been declared to the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA), raising concerns that Iran was attempting to conceal sensitive nuclear activities. The Natanz facility was designed to house thousands of gas centrifuges capable of enriching uranium, while low-enriched uranium is used as fuel for the nuclear reactors. The same enrichment technology can produce highly enriched uranium suitable for nuclear-grade weapons if operated at higher levels of purity. The Arak facility, on the other hand, involved a heavy water reactor capable of producing plutonium as a byproduct of its operation. Plutonium is another material that can be used in nuclear weapons. The revelation of these facilities triggered a major international crisis. The IAEA launched investigations into Iran's nuclear activities and discovered a series of inconsistencies in Iran's declarations. These findings intensified global concerns that Iran might be pursuing nuclear weapons capabilities under the disguise of a civilian program. International sanctions and diplomatic confrontation. As suspicions about Iran's nuclear activities grew larger, the international community began imposing economic and diplomatic pressure. In 2005, IAEA determined that Iran had failed to comply fully with its obligations under Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The following year, the United States Security Council adopted a resolution demanding that Iran suspend its nuclear enrichment activities. When Iran refused the scrutiny, the Security Council imposed a series of sanctions targeting Iran's nuclear and missile programs. Between 2006 and 2010, several UN resolutions expanded these sanctions, restricting Iran's access to international financial systems, limiting arms sales, and prohibiting trade related to sensitive nuclear technologies. The United States and European Union also introduced additional unilateral sanctions aimed at Iran's banking sectors, oil exports, and industrial infrastructure. These sanctions had a profound impact on Iran's economy, reducing foreign investments, limiting oil revenues, and contributing to currency depreciation and inflation. Covert operations and sabotages. Alongside diplomatic pressure and economic sanctions, Iran's nuclear program also became the target of large covert operations designed to slow its progress. One of the most famous incidents was this Stuxnet cyber attack discovered in 2010. Stuxnet was a sophisticated computer worm believed to have been developed jointly by the United States and Israel. The malware infiltrated the control system of centrifuges at the Natanz enrichment facility and caused them to spin at destructive speeds, damaging equipment and temporarily disrupting Iran's enrichment operations. During the same period, several Iranian nuclear scientists were assassinated in mysterious attacks in Tehran. Iranian authorities blamed foreign intelligence agencies for the killings, accusing Iran and Western governments of attempting to sabotage the country's nuclear development. These events underscored the intensity of the geopolitical struggle surrounding Iran's nuclear ambitions. The diplomatic breakthrough of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. After years of escalating tensions and economic pressure, as well as diplomatic negotiations, eventually produced a major agreement known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action (JCPOA), signed in 2015 between Iran and the P5+1 group of countries, which include China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Germany. The agreement aimed to limit Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. Under the terms of the JCPOA, Iran agreed to reduce its stockpile of enriched uranium, dismantle thousands of centrifuges, and limit enrichment levels to 3.67% for 15 years. The Fordow enrichment facility was repurposed for research activities, and heavy water reactor at Arak was redesigned to minimize plutonium production. Iran also accepted extensive monitoring by the International Atomic Energy Agency, including inspections of nuclear facilities and the oversight of uranium mines and centrifuges manufacturing sites. In return, international sanctions were gradually lifted, allowing Iran to regain access into global financial systems and recover frozen assets. The JCPOA was widely viewed as the major diplomatic achievement, reducing the immediate risk of nuclear proliferation in the Middle East while maintaining strict verification methods. The collapse of the nuclear agreement. Despite initial success, the JCPOA faced significant political opposition. Critics argued that the agreement failed to address Iran's ballistic missile program and its regional influence through allied militant groups. In 2018, the United States withdrew from the agreement and reimposed sweeping economic sanctions on Iran as part of a maximum pressure campaign. Iran initially continued to comply with the agreement but eventually began gradually reducing its commitments. It increased uranium enrichment levels, installed advanced centrifuges, accumulated larger stockpiles of enriched uranium. By the early 2020s, Iran had resumed enrichment at multiple facilities and had produced Iran's uranium enrichment to levels approaching weapons grade purity. These actions significantly shortened Iran's theoretical breakout time, the time required to produce enough fissile material for a nuclear weapon. Escalating tensions and military confrontations. The deterioration of diplomatic agreement eventually led to renewed confrontation. Throughout the 2020s, tensions between Iran, Israel, and the United States intensified on each side, accused the other of destabilizing the region. Military strikes, cyber operations, and intelligence actions targeting Iran near nuclear infrastructure. Several facilities, including Natanz, Isfahan, experienced explosion or sabotage incidents. By 2025, the conflict escalated dramatically. Israeli airstrikes targeting Iranian nuclear and military installations, followed by American attacks on key enrichment facilities such as Fordow and Natanz. Iran responded by suspending cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency and expanding its enrichment capabilities. The conflict demonstrated how nuclear proliferation concerns can rapidly escalate into direct military confrontation. Iran's major nuclear facilities. Iran's nuclear program is supported by a network of major facilities distributed across the country. The Natanz enrichment complex remains the primary site for uranium enrichment, housing thousands of centrifuges capable of producing enriched uranium. Fordow, located deep inside a mountain near the city of Qom, serves as a fortified enrichment site designed to withstand military attack. The Bushehr nuclear power plant at Iran is Iran's only operational nuclear reactor for electricity generation, built with Russian assistance and fueled with imported nuclear fuel. The Arak heavy water reactor complex has been redesigned under international agreements but remains an important component of nuclear energy infrastructure. The Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center houses uranium conversion facilities and research laboratories essential to the nuclear fuel cycle. Conclusion: a persistent global challenge. The nuclear program of Iran remains one of the most complex and consequential issues in international politics. It reflects the intersection of technological development, national security concerns, and geopolitical rivalry. Over more than half a century, the program has evolved from a Western supported civilian initiative into a sophisticated and controversial technological infrastructure capable of producing enriched uranium and advanced nuclear technology. Being diplomatic, despite diplomatic agreements, sanctions, covert operations, and military strikes, as well as producing the fundamental dilemma surrounding Iran's nuclear ambitions remains unresolved. The international community continues to debate how to balance Iran's sovereign right to peaceful nuclear technology with the global effort to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. As tensions persist and technological capabilities advance, Iran's nuclear program will likely remain a central issue shaping the strategic landscape of the Middle East and the broader international order for many years to come.